microphone on. Whoa. Good enough. Yeah. Logitech, for those who don't know, the Logitech, at least the interface I have is it has a left button and a right button. If you click any of them, like jerks. So yeah, so the only way to really adjust it is by adjusting the camera by hand. Yeah, let's see, hair looks great. Looks fabulous. Pandemic hair. I'm still cutting my own hair, by the way. I've not gone out for a haircut. There's a fish back there. Long week. Nothing really happened, just it was a lockdown week. Yesterday was lockdown. I'm not really locking down, but still cramming in some last minute stuff. But still, I worked a lot. There was a lot of tedious, long stuff to get done. Performance is always tough. It's just an endless loop of profile, instrument, tweak, adjust, build, run, profile, adjust, tweak, run, and basically doing that over and over again, I always call it the whack-a-mole game. You always sometimes you can't tell what the real problems are because there are hold on one second here, because there's just so many things, and one big thing, one big spike will hide everything else. Then the other challenge is a lot of things can be frame rate dependent, meaning that it has because we stagger a lot of stuff, some things that take 3 milliseconds when you're running at 30 frames a second may take 30 milliseconds when you're running at 3 frames a second, and a lot of times the profiler will push your frame rate way down, distort all that. Because we have a lot of things that we stagger, where we want to have, there's, updating the visual position or whatever for creatures, and even packets coming in from the server being sent out. Those are things that, they're fairly consistent. They have a cost based on the time, not on the frame rate. So when you slow the frame rate down, those all get piled up into big clumps in each frame. Hold on, I've got one little thing to take care of here. One second. All right, there we go. I was just talking to my fish guy. I just got some fish in. I was expecting him to come afterwards, but I'd ordered some live fish. We lost a couple of fish, and we were trying to get our genetics a little more diverse. We didn't want to have all the little brothers and sister fish together. So, not these guys behind me. These are my fish that do nothing but swim and be happy. No mating allowed fish behind me. But anyways, let's see. It looks like we're here for the time. Let me get the stuff. I think it's just going to be me. Elgarian's getting some amazing stuff done. It's awesome. The stuff he's getting done. I think you're really going to like some of the loot that he added. He knew I was going to be overloaded, as always, this release. And picked up a bunch of stuff. But he came up with some ideas for some new things that are basically lot-based What are the things called? Blessing distributors. Shrines. I know they have a name. But anyways, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Because my brain is fried. Oh, and I was up at 3 a.m. this morning. As people probably saw, working on some balance stuff. But anyways, he got some of those that are going to be like loot drop. I forget how he has them. He may have them so they just drop and you have to craft them, put them together. But it's awesome. Devotionals. The word is devotionals. But anyways. And the fish. I ordered from Dave's Dwarf Cichlids. I know you're all super interested in fish stuff here in the gaming world. But Dave's Dwarf Cichlids. And I ordered 6 fish and 6 super healthy fish. They were awesome. Some little Epistos, a couple of little red bristlenose plecos. Good stuff. But anyways, highly recommended. So, let's see. I was mentioning the devotional stuff. That's what Elgarion, he was trying to wrap up some of that stuff. What is the phrase that pays? That's what I was looking for. 1 second. And again, today will be one of those days where my brain is only half functioning. So hopefully I'll remember enough. 2021 is going to rock. Let's see. Hold on. I'm about to paste it in there. Bam. 2021 is going to rock. For those who are new to the stream, I'm sure there's a few of you guys out there. I've been seeing lots of new players coming to the game, which is awesome. But the way this works is we give away prizes. We are not allowed to give away prizes like we have only if you buy stuff, which is what we used to be primarily a cash shop type thing instead of in-game premium currency. But anyways, so to win, you can either A, buy a crown bundle off the store. No one ever does that. I mean, not during the stream. You may do that. But the much easier way is you just in-game, not in the stream, say 2021 is going to rock. If you say it in the stream, you'll just annoy your friends. It's fun to troll them. But it will only count if you say it over in the game chat. So you have to install the game, but the game is free to play. So install it. Give it a try. I'm happy it's Friday. Just wanted to say it's been a long week. Long day. And yeah, you do not have to say it in Universal, although everyone does, because again, it's fun to annoy people sometimes. Let's see. Oh, I have a server update. So again, we had that server outage. I think I talked about that last week, that we had that brief downtime where the server died. So I have a plan we have the other server that is just about ready to go. I've kind of been waiting for the other one to die. I have one more thing I want to try on the other one before we give up on that box, just because we've got like 12 of those boxes and it's really annoying that one, like basically the only thing that could really break the game, that one single box is the one that decided it wanted to die in an odd way. So I've got one more thing to try on that because it seems to be power supply related. The back plane for the raid array is losing power. And the only way, here's the hint I had, the only way to get it to restart is if you just do a boot like you could do through the BMI. For those who don't know, in servers, a lot of the servers, they have what's called a BMI that people call different names. I think Dell calls it iDRAC. But it is a extra network port that's on the that's on the server board. And that actually, you can connect to that. And that will give you like this whole BIOS looking interface that will let you control everything about the server, even restarting the server through that port. So normally that would be the type thing where the server goes down. Well, it should be able to connect to that. But this is one that actually get to work. We have to go up there and we have to actually, you can't just restart it. You have to unplug it completely, let it sit for a few seconds and plug back in. So anyway, so the short version of that is, I think I may have a fix because I'm pretty sure that it is actually the redundant power supplies that's dropping power on it. And I have like 6 extra redundant power supplies, so I'll go up there and do that. Dark and Obscure, have you ever compared the cost of cloud VMs versus the hardware? Absolutely. All the time. I look at that and I'm tempted It is one of those things that it is tempting because there's a lot of good stuff about being in the cloud. The bad stuff is kind of what you mentioned, is we're kind of a small market game, and it can get expensive running the boxes. I think I've mentioned on the streams, but our total data center cost to run everything, the game, QA, we obviously have like dev servers, we have the API server, we have like a localization server, we have the dev server is actually 4 boxes, 3 redundant database boxes in the main box. We've got some same stuff for QA. We've got a ton of boxes up there. To run all those in the cloud would be expensive. My total cost to run that, plus I also host our build machines and all the other stuff up there at the data center, my total cost per month is about $600. Now, I did get a little bit of a good deal because I know people. You got friends. But still, to have all that, and also, as you guys know, we all work from home and have for 2 years, more than 2 years now. So we have to have like all of our email server and our file backup servers and our build machines and our bug database and our wiki and all that other stuff. It's got to live up there too, and all that lives up there, and it's just all hosted up there. So it is a co-location rack, and that's one of those things that keep the cost down. I think I mentioned a while back that just late last year I actually purchased we only have one thing that we license for the entire game. That basically is our one monthly bill in addition to data center, and I actually purchased a lifetime license for that, which is we use Photon for a lot of things, which is a networking library. So I bought a library or lifetime license for that. So we have almost no monthly cost. Like, we keep it cheap. Yes, AWS has some good stuff. Having used AWS in the past, and again, this is a dev talk. I know we're here to talk about Shroud of the Avatar, but I am the tech director, and I know there's a lot of techie guys out there. So I'll talk a little bit more about this, then I'll jump into some Shroud of the Avatar stuff. But we have had problems in the past games I've had on AWS. There's a lot of problems that come up. We've had more web server outages than we have had game outages. We've had times where we've had a box where, wow, something's just crushing that box. And it was another box within the Amazon cloud where somebody, was hammering it from basically in the same cluster that's where their machine used to be. And it got assigned to us. We've had boxes that just vanish. AWS doesn't know what happened to them. So, yeah, so there's lots of good stuff about the cloud. I actually use DigitalOcean for a number of things as well, which is kind of a simpler, dumbed down AWS version. But for us, for the price, for the number of servers, because we would literally have to have 20 plus pretty large boxes to run the game if we're in the cloud. Which would be pretty prohibitive. Data center is the way to go, even though it is a little more of a pain. As for the cost of the servers, I think some of you may have been with us long enough to know that most of the servers we actually got free. We moved into a space of a .com that got acquired by a $1 billion company. Got acquired by BMC Software, and they, it's like a 30-person company, and they had servers in their space. Had 17 servers, quad node, 2U rack units, super micro boxes, and they got acquired and moved out, and we told them, come get your boxes. You left them in the space. They didn't get them. Did that for like 3 weeks, and then finally the tech director, CTO, said, you know what, just keep them, because they were acquired and they couldn't use them anyways. So we kept them. That's where our servers are, and that's also why we have a bunch of redundant backups that have been stress tested and all. BMC software, not BMC is in the base motherboard controller. Too many TLAs. TLA. It's one of my favorite things. 3-letter abbreviation. TLA is a TLA. I don't know why that makes me giggle. But anyways, all right, we're 12 minutes into it here, and I have told you nothing about the game, except I do have a plan to go up and change the server power supplies is the one thing you should know. I don't think I'm going to need any downtime. I may take it down for safety briefly, but it's on a totally different physical box than the database boxes. Those are on 3 other machines. And it does have redundant power supplies, so I may put those redundant power supplies to the test, because I should be able to pull one power supply, put in the new one, pull the other's power supply, and put in another new one. What do you think? Is it going to work? We'll see, but that may be what I end up doing, so it may require no downtime whatsoever. We're pretty good in that if our game server goes down, we really have much. We've always been careful to not have things get into a corrupted state, so it should all be good. Tired. How about you guys? Let's see. For those who are also new, you can add questions. You should be able to add questions by doing !question space question you want to ask about the game. Dave from Dave's Dwarf Cichlids, I'm sure you're not out there, but if you're out there, why don't you do a question and tell me howdy. I'd love to see you in here. Let's see. The bot working. Tular Fairlow. Yes, the bot is working. Gaylorn Hammerthrow. Can we get a farming artifact? Ooh, I wonder if Elgarion is watching. Again, he's been like doing some amazing stuff in terms of getting some unique items in there. I, on the other hand, have been not good on getting much loot done this time, but I have been getting a lot of performance work done. This was my test spot right here. This is from the places I tried running around looking at logging the draw calls and the CPU load. This spot right here with a slight angle like this was pretty much the worst spot in the game, so I was using this to do some profiling. But again, after doing some magic, got things pretty good. This one we'll see. I got mixed results in terms of the frame rate, but it definitely went from the 30 range. Sometimes when I was testing it would be in the 45 range, other times it'd only be about 40. But again, pretty good. Much improved from what it was. Lots of bad stuff was going on. This is also something I did not just use. I think some people probably saw on my Twitter feed I was asking for towns that needed to be profiled. I did not. This is not just stuff that I'm going to those towns and making magic massaging to those towns. The problems usually are systemic, and when I fix it for one town, it tends to fix it for everybody's towns. In this town, there were a handful. So this town is actually amazing, but also it is pushing the limits in terms of the number of deco lights. We do a pretty good job of culling those things and keeping them down, but there's just a ton of decorations, a ton of lights, all crammed into a pretty tight space here. So that was kind of the challenge with this scene, was just a lot of stuff, and then it's also crammed into a pretty small space. There were a lot of unique or individual things that need to be fixing in terms of assets. I looked yesterday and I'd touched 1,700 assets that were things that poorly set up LODs, not set up LODs, poorly set up material stuff that didn't get caught by some of our tests. But it was stuff like shaders not instancing. Oh, here's an example of something that was not working well. There's a couple of things. Some of these things, like the cupcakes and eggs, people like using them to write stuff because you guys are weird. And they did not have good settings for them for culling and shadow casting and other stuff like that. Here's another one that was bad. Is these guys right here. Look like lazy dudes just kind of sitting around. So they were actually running just like any other NPC. They're running a lot of logic to figure out, should I do something now? Should I walk now? Should I move around now? Should I run an idle thing? So I went and I cleaned up some of that stuff and simplified it. And this town has, as you might imagine, this town has a lot of NPCs in it, vendor NPCs. Lots of decos, lots of lights, lots of NPCs. I believe it was Crystal Cove was the one I started on just because I was seeing some weirdness in it, and I got the performance on that up significantly. There were a lot of bad things that, again, were systemic things. Just some pets were doing some really bad things. Some deco pets. Some of it was just really silly, dumb things. But anyways, should be better this release. I think you'll see an improvement in towns, especially crowded towns like this. The other thing is I did some work on the UI. I went and cleaned up some UI. We had a lot of stuff that was doing bad things that did not appear bad. I'm sure there's some coders out there, but null checks, too many null checks. But it was using the wrong kind of null check, and that it, for those who played on Unity, because again, I know we have a lot of developers out there, Unity's null check is crazy expensive if you're using a null check for Unity, an object that inherits from Unity stuff. And it's because they set flags for dispose on things. So it's got to go through, rather than like you do a null check, if you're a C++ programmer, you're sitting there thinking, oh, a null check, it's comparing 4 bytes of memory to another 4 bytes of memory to say, is 0, is it equal to 0? No, it's not. It's not null. And you can imagine in your head like the one line of assembly that turns into, well, in this, it was turning into several thousand instructions as it crawled the hierarchy for all this stuff. But if you looked at it in code, it just looked like, is X equal null? So anyways, a lot of that stuff cleaned up. Yes. Hey, there's a programmer down there. So this was, I ended up using like system object reference equals was the one after doing some testing and some Googling was the fast way to do it. But right now I'm seeing some exceptions in here when I move around, which is exactly the thing the special Unity one's supposed to fix. Is on object destruction. There can be some null stuff. All right, I still haven't actually talked anything about questions and game stuff, so let's get to that. I'll stop talking tech stuff. Let me do load level. That's wrong. Level Crystal Cove, I think. What's the other one? See the null reference? Oh, you guys probably don't see that. All right. SnugZ1 asks, can has cheeseburger? No, but you can have some light armor improvements. I think, again, some of you may watch my Twitter stream. Did some work, again, on balance this morning. Some of the things, just so you guys know, I know anytime I nerf stuff, and I do the finger quotes, all hell breaks loose. I don't just randomly go and nerf stuff. I only take a shot at balancing stuff downwards, the friendlier term, if it is severely out of whack to the point that it hinders other people's enjoyment of the game because you're doing stuff that they can never compete with. One of those things I was trying to work on was, and I think I have a fix for it, a better solution for it, an improvement for it, is archery stuff. Again, for those who haven't heard me talk about it, archery is, ranged stuff is OP for PvP. It has, it's a little OP for PvE, but it's not even that crazy for PvE. The problems with it for PvE are more about it's the simplest thing to use as a AFK party person. So when I'm working on some AFK party stuff to make it more, make AFK a little tougher to get around. I still haven't finalized what it's going to be, and I don't think I'm going to tell you guys what it's going to be. But it's really aimed at catching people who are trying to PvP or AFK in parties, or AFK just with auto attack left on, shooting down some random simple mob to get some easy experience points. The other thing I'm looking at is I see no reason, and when I was looking at AFK, and again, this is sometimes you just have to stop, when you're in a project that's been in the works as long as ours has, been live for years, you have to stop and walk back the thinking of, okay, why do we boot AFK people, while I'm sitting here trying to improve AFK. So again, you guys sometimes find ways around it, whether it's through like a macro that just like hits a key every now and then, or whatever simple thing it is, or mouse macro type thing, whatever it is, to keep yourself in game. So sometimes we don't care. If you're doing it in a party, obviously we care. That's annoying to your party. I get when you guys file a complaint, yes, I do watch those and I do read those. But that's probably the number one complaint is so-and-so AFKing in party, or so-and-so, AFK. The one that is super annoying is someone's AFK in the party, someone leaves the party, and the AFK dude becomes the party leader, and then you have to like tear down the party and redo the party. Like, how annoying is that? It's bad enough that they're leeching experience points off you. But anyways, that type of stuff, that type of AFK, we obviously hate. But if you're a guy who wants to, like, this is my pot, I'm the governor, Mystery Incorporated says I want to like sit in my pot all day long, just so if no other reason, maybe I can have the chat. I can see what goes on in chat all day long, or see who comes and goes, whatever reason you might have. I don't think we care. We shouldn't be making you guys do macros to or find ways that are borderline cheating to stay in game. If you want to like sit, and again, this is if you're not gaining anything. This is my belief. If you're not gaining anything, all you're doing is sitting around in your pot or in your house or whatever, I don't think we care. And booting you guys, we have the servers we have so much headroom, we could let people stay in. I think that was kind of the original thought, was like boot people out of the game after 10 minutes or whatever. But the servers we have, the last big stress test we did, and this is using bots, some using players, some using, we've had a number of different stress tests. One of the bigger stress tests we had was Shooter Jennings launching a live album in game, or launching his album live in game. But we've got tons of room. I've looked at also, if you're someone who just sits and you're doing basically what I'm doing right now on screen, that takes up almost no bandwidth to the server and cost us almost nothing. So right now I'm thinking I let you guys stay in. If you want to AFK in game, we'll let you stay in. If it becomes a problem, then we'll turn on an AFK timer that's maybe 4 hours instead of 15 minutes or 60 minutes. So, anyways, and then it's less of a hassle. Again, you can, if you're a governor, you can get all the chat. You can see all the chat. You can come back and look through your chat log, or look at, text or whatever. You can see what's going on. People can be sending you tells in game. We can still do the AFK where it replies. You get the AFK over your head. We just aren't going to boot you. Is my thought. Again, so the too long didn't listen version of that, because you're only here for the prizes, is work is being done to boot AFKers who are AFKing to gain things, like being AFK in parties, or AFK killing stuff. Work is also being done to not boot you if you're just AFK but not gaining anything. So seems like it's how it should be anyways. Why not just vote kick from the group? Yeah. Again, this is one of those things I basically am relaying to you that I think I had like 4 people yesterday who their complaint was some AFK person. One, they're in the group and it's annoying, and they're AFK and they're going to be standing there whether you boot them from the group or not. But also the AFK and they become party leader and it's annoying. But yeah. It's Friday. Not that it means that much. Let's see. Zridis, please make the summoned pet stronger. They so weak at the moment. Got over 200 Earth attunement and Earth Elementar at 120. He can't be used against T5 area enemies. So that is one of the things. Right now I believe that tamed pets are probably where they should be. I know some of you are saying they're too powerful or they're too what. If you put a ton of effort into them, they can be pretty powerful. They do come with a cost, though. And to get them really powerful to that point that you're talking about, you also have to make that one of your specializations, is putting your specialization in taming. However, summon pets through mage guys are weaker. I, again, will take this last stream. I think I told you guys I was going to go through, basically use the notes. This list as a notes for my next morning to get some stuff done, and I knocked off 3 or 4 things on that list that you guys told me about last time. So I will try and take a pass on the summon things, the elementals, and undead. Those need a little love. I don't think they need as much love. It varies a lot. Speaking of undead, that reminds me. That's another one I'm doing right now. Is I continue the let's try and get people playing in places that are not named East Reach Gap or whatever the hotspot of the day is. So I actually went and took a pass, sat around and spied on you guys, watching you guys in East Reach Gap. One, it doesn't look that fun for most of the party members. But I started looking at how quickly things were dying compared to other scenes. And I started watching some metrics for like the time to spawn, like time from first hit to dead, which made me go and look at the stats. So I thought this was something that had been fixed. It had not been fixed. The control point liches, tier 12 and tier 10, were both horribly wrong in stats. The skeletons were pretty wrong on the stats. The liches, so if you think about like a tier 12, like a troll, like a normal troll, not like a boss troll, but a normal troll I think has about 900 strength for a tier 12 guy. The tier 12 melee lich had 150 strength. He's not going to hurt anybody with that. The same thing was true of the tier 12 caster. He also had 150 intelligence, which is what determines how much damage he has, which is not going to do anything to you guys. So, nothing was changed in terms of the spawn rate. Oh, and this is the other reason I was doing this, was now that we have the tier episode 2 scenes where we have the dynamic difficulty on things, we have formulas that have now been updated to what I believe are pretty good formulas in terms of matching up with you guys and your actual power. But I can take those back and look and find the creatures that are dramatically different from those. Those guys were dramatically different from where they should be. Just in terms of what are the difficulty for level 120 creatures. So experience stayed the same, spawn rate stayed the same, all that stuff stayed the same. The thing that did change was their stats were brought online to what they should be for a level 120 creature. So you're going to hate me. I'm sure you'll scream nerf because you'll kill them slower. But it is one of those things, again, I'm still working. The other part I'm working on, I think I mentioned on a past stream, was working on making wave spawners. If you kill a tier 10 lich from a wave spawner, it's worth X experience. If you kill a tier 10 lich from a static spawner that's just like, one that spawns and will respawn in like 15 minutes or whatever, like normal dungeon spawner type thing, then those guys are worth 2x experience. Not necessarily 2x, but looking at the numbers, what it's going to take to get it. Because what I'm really trying to get it to be, the game to be, is you can choose to go to a control point if you want to, work there, fight there. The rewards feel appropriate. You could also go to a dungeon. You could go to another scene where you have to move around the scene instead of sitting in one spot with a group of people. And you would get approximately equal rewards from that. So you actually have a choice of whether or not you want to do the tedious thing and sit, or you want to go moving around. But anyways. So Zridis, yes, I will try to take a pass on your pets. Back to the actual question. I was thinking of the lich pet is why I remembered that the liches changed. Buzzkill, can you elaborate on your tweet about aim shot with mobs don't move much, archers kite, mobs don't move much? So this is something I was looking at. So again, this is looking at the balance of things. For those who know what I'm trying to do, archers are OP in PvP in a lot of situations. Actually, that's not necessarily that they're OP, they are OP. But they have a lot of... They're the easiest ones to be good at PvP, to win at PvP with right now. fairly skillless. And the problem with it is there's little to do to defend. So there's a couple things that I've changed just today. Some of it's giving shields some love, some giving heavy armor some love, and some giving light armor some love. Those were all three things making the armors more meaningful as important. I'll go thank some people here because I also need to do a drawing soon. But one of the things I look for is how can I take, we've got the challenge of not only do we have a completely open class system where there is no classes, there's skills, and you can have any skills, combine them however you want to. There's that challenge of balance, and then we also have the challenge of I want to make sure our PvE is fairly balanced for lots of good reasons, but then also the PvP is fairly balanced. Again, because as soon as it becomes unbalanced, we're taking away the choice. You can either choose to win. That's really what your choice becomes. You can choose to win and be competitive, or you can choose to play the way you want to. And we want to make sure both those things happen at the same time. But for archery, the thing I want to do is try to find a way to not hurt PvE, but to make PvP more competitive and give people strategies to help combat PvP. So let me go over some of the things I did today. I don't think I have the list in front of me, and I think I still have the files checked out, so I haven't added in the full stuff. But the thing I was looking at that this question is about is one of the things is making aim shots. So aim shot is obviously the bread and butter for most archers. They've got rapid shot and they've got other stuff too, but aim shot is the thing they do the most. It's also the thing that is way OP in some situations. It's a little OP in PvE, but in PvP, because it is such a high damage single target spell, it can be really frustrating because you can get some massive crits. Now there's a couple things that pile onto that. One is, it's a really high damage skill. Because it's a short casting time thing, you can charge it up pretty quick and get max damage, get some really big hits on it. And then the other thing is archery is pretty high in terms of critical damage, and there's a lot of ways to get critical damage. Well, you add those all together, and you can get, I forget what the top damage I saw was, but I'm sure on training dummies, not on a real player, but at least on training dummies, you can get in the 3,000 to 4,000 range for crits, which for PvP is not much fun when you get one shot. There's nothing less satisfying than one shot with no defense. So what I was looking at as a way to help balance that, and also again add some defense stuff to it, add defense tactics players, is making aim shot. And this also, I do like when we can, I like the reality modeling type stuff, making things that would make sense in reality. So making aim shot do less damage if the target is moving. And I forget who it was, but I put that out there, threw out that idea of what do you guys think about that, and someone threw in, I think it may have been John Marcus, threw in the what about if it only is in the perpendicular directories. I don't think he exactly phrased it like that, but that's what it immediately became in my head. So, why this is cool. It's cool if you have it so a player moving reduces the damage of this fairly OP thing, because players will know this and they'll be able to use that as part of their strategy for how to fight an archer is, don't sit there and charge right at him. You better find a way to get at him, running perpendicular to him, running side, serpentine. But creatures don't do much of that. They do chasing. If you're kiting things, then sure, they're going to run at you. But that's why I was saying the perpendicular velocity towards you. So zigzagging up will actually greatly reduce that. And for those who haven't put much thought into it, don't do PvP. I know most people don't do PvP, or at least not seriously. They may dabble in it or whatever. But if you're sitting there thinking like, does it really matter? He's just going to keep shooting. Well, the thing that is frustrating is when you get one-shotted or you get a hit massively so much that you don't have time to respond. You don't have time to heal. You don't have time to do a potion. You don't have anything. And so really what we're trying to do is get some of these, if you're using good strategies, that you at least have time to respond to that. So I can tell you another thing that happened was I had in PvP from long ago, at one point there was people were had difficulty killing each other. It was just too easy to heal, and it was too challenging to heal each other, or too challenging to kill each other. And there was actually a multiplier in there that was adding about 10% damage to every attack in the game. So I pulled that out. Every PvP attack in the game. So that's been pulled out. So that pulls the damage down 10%. The aim shot pulling that down. So there's a couple more things. So one, I changed the behavior of shields. So for those who don't know, we have a system where you shoot somebody, pew, it will determine the quality of the hit, which could be a miss, it could be a glancing blow, it can be a hit, it can be a critical hit, and then it'll determine what defensive things happened. You know, did you parry an attack? Did you block an attack? You can't parry archers. You can block them. Shields are one of those things that I always look for ways to make it more interesting. I know there's a lot of people out there that's what they want to play. I want to play a tank and I want to have a shield and a weapon. But shields are fairly ineffective. So I'm always looking for ways to make shields do what they're supposed to, which is give you a significant defensive edge. So one of the changes that was made to shields is if you get a block on somebody, the block damage that your shield reduces will occur before the critical multiplier. So the block will go against the base damage, not the critical damage. So this is a big thing. Obviously, again, this is one of those things for people who are trying to tank. Again, this is not a nerf. This is a little power-up thing for people who want to tank. Tanks are one of the most mistreated, underloved groups out there. So that can be a huge one, is if you get a block, the damage that goes against it goes before the crit. So then the other thing is there's two skills, and I'm trying to remember which ones which ones I've submitted so far. So light armor evasion is going to get, there's a new stat that I added, which is a crit chance, not crit damage, but crit chance stat. There's always been, before, when it went into the logic of should we be doing critical hits on you, didn't care who you were hitting, nothing they had mattered at all. It would go in for the crit chance, and the crit chance was calculated completely with your stats. There's nothing they had that could reduce that. So I've now changed that, reworked some of that. So now evasion, and this one confuses me because evasion is called tumbling in code. I forget why we changed it from tumbling to evasion, but it's evasion. But evasion now will also give a bonus to crit chance reduction. Now I've got this set pretty low right now. I think if you have if you're specialized and you have spec at 100 and the skill at 100, I think it'll reduce it by about, I think that'll reduce it about 35%. The shield changes are done now. I've got them locally here. I'll get a build out this weekend that'll have them on there in case you want to try them on QA. They're not going to go live until the build or the next release. Next release is next week. But anyway, so the idea is light armor can help you avoid criticals altogether. That's kind of always been what light armor was about, was reducing the chance of you getting hit. And then the heavy armor is more about reducing the damage you take. You get hit more, or as much as you would without the heavy armor stuff, but you can reduce the damage, make your armor soak up some of the damage. So light armor gets, in evasion, it gets a bonus to reduce, or gets a modifier to reduce the chance that someone's going to crit you. The heavy armor gets in, I'm trying to remember where it ended up. Absorb impacts, I think, is the one, because that was another one I looked at it, and it's like, no one uses absorb impacts. You know why? Because it sucks. So now it will suck significantly less, because it will add a reduce the crit damage multiplier. So basically you can start counteracting some of those massive, fireflies and those type things. So it'll reduce the peak damage that you're going to take from things. It reduces the average damage, the mean damage that you would be taking too. But the important thing is it reduces the peak damage. And again, that's important for PvP. And PvE, again, it will reduce your mean damage because you're reducing crit damage overall. And that does factor significantly into how much damage you take. So anyways, tank love for you guys. I'm working on it. Shield, I'm trying to remember. There were actually a couple of things. Bolster balance got something, and deflect got something, and I totally forget what they got. But anyways, some more skills. I'll try to touch up a few more skills. These things are done. They will go in. I made sure to include in them spec bonuses for each of them. I do need to update the text form, so I'll try and do that if I can. So anyways, if you're an archer and you're saying, you took stuff away from us and you gave it to the armor guys trying to keep them from killing us, just a reminder that I did get in a big change for archers, at least for some archers, which is the change that if you are using, and this is actually a feedback from one of my one-on-ones with the Lord of the Isle person, who shall remain nameless unless they want to name themselves. But one of their feedback things was, difficult with the bow because it's two-handed to deal with the fizzle rates and trying to modify and keeping slots empty or wearing total cloth and they didn't really want to. So bows, archery just got a big loving thing, which is bows count as one-handed for spell casting, which again, this is a little bit of reality modeling and then a little bit of balance in terms of bow guys had worse casting abilities than a guy using a one-handed sword. So I'm ready for the weekend. Oh, and I'm also stressed, as I mentioned, because just before this, I'd ordered live fish, and they usually show up in the evening, and they showed up early. So I was running around panicking, but all the fish were happy, healthy. So let's see. So as promised, I got some performance work in. Again, this is Crystal Cove. This one had some interesting challenges as well. It was one of my performance ones. Again, you guys in your wacky deco thingamadoobers, using your eggs to decorate, your cupcakes to decorate. Some of the changes for those are things that you guys will probably never notice unless I point them out. But just in terms of the performance form, these little suckers right here, previously, before I did performance work on them, they were, in addition to the cool stuff they have and the animation they have, they were casting shadows. Shadows are one of the most important or most expensive things in the game. Having an object that is 3 inches across cast shadows does not make sense. Especially since, at least to some extent, they get the appearance of having a shadow because of AO, ambient occlusion stuff, that kind of puts in a screen space shadow effect. That is, in case you don't know what that is, if you go down and look around the base of stuff, a lot of stuff looks like it has kind of like dark around it. It's not as obvious on just like buildings. It's more obvious when you're looking at like plants and stuff like that and vegetation. Armory. But it still gets that ambient occlusion, so it creates a little bit of a dark space to it. But rendering a shadow, again for the little techie stuff, rendering a shadow is actually pretty proportional to the number of polygons that go into it. It's basically rendering the object a whole nother time. Rendering using the ambient occlusion stuff gives a similar effect for small objects, but you only do it one time. It's basically after everything gets rendered, it's got the depth that knows how far away each thing is, and it can figure out from that and kind of add a shadow in a single pass rather than having to re-render every single object in there another time. But again, this is one of the scenes I looked at that had, super well done, super crazy decoed, and I'm sure some people just couldn't run this scene just because there's a lot of stuff. This is another one that came up in this scene was, look how many VFX things there are in here. Look at all the VFX, like everything. Like that's like 2 bows, and each one of those bows has like a couple of VFX. Like every one of these objects, the weapons out here has VFX. All the lights have VFX. The braziers have VFX. These guys over here, these are mannequins. This is one of the cool things who the person I know who runs this pot. What they do is they have a lot of mannequins and they put like cool stuff in their hands that they couldn't decorate with otherwise or might exceed some limit. So they get around that by having their mannequins out there holding stuff. But again, challenging in terms of performance. So that's why this scene was one of the ones I was using to look at things. I mean, look at all those VFX. So lots of cleanup, lots of work, lots of fixing to make guys like this not take a ton of stuff. We are 47 minutes in and I've not done a single drawing. I'm going to go ahead and do one drawing now, and then I'll do another one at the end. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Bam. Should be running. Let me make sure it's at the top of the queue. It is not. Let me see what the thing ahead of it is doing. Stop that so we can get our results quicker. All right, back to some questions there. But again, as promised, oh, that's another thing I meant to talk about. I could probably do a whole stream just on that, is talking about our 2021 vision, which is really just kind of a vision for Shroud. This is something that players requested. For me, it's a little bit of a frustrating type thing because we do like to, it's something we've always done. When Star was more active in the project and an active project manager, he would come up with some of this stuff, but we always had trouble because we come up with these big long lists, wish lists of here's all the stuff we wish we'd do. And I felt like it hurt the team because we end up pushing so hard to get those things done that we avoid, sometimes we avoid like finishing them to some extent. So one thing I think there was a misunderstanding, at least for some people. I think some people read that, and again, maybe they were just looking for ways to be negative, which I get, it's the internet. But they saw, like, looks like you're going into maintenance mode or something. So that is not what we're doing. That is not what you should have got from that. Again, maybe our bad for presenting it in a less than clear way. This is not, our plan is not going into maintenance mode. What we're doing is we're going to do some catch-up. Because we feel right now there's a lot of features left we want to get done. There's a lot of new stuff we want to get done. But we feel like a lot of the stuff we have done is not up to where it should be. And we want to go back and clean that up. Again, for some of you guys, I know you all everybody has their favorite feature that they want in. But for a new player coming into the game, I think they come in and they see a lot of that as coming in and, they're not as sticky as they should be. Oh, did we do a thing? Is it a hype train? Am I going to have to do a bunch more giveaways here in a minute? But anyways, so don't take the 2020 or the future-looking plan as a maintenance mode. What we are doing is we are trying to get caught up, trying to polish some of the things we have, trying to get some of those things like, hey, our UI sucks. Spending time on that it is. You should not take it as we're reducing effort towards the project. Or going into just a support mode. You should take it as we're going back and fixing all that junk that is horrible, and you guys have been telling us it's horrible for years, like the quest journal and some of these bugs that have lingered and really annoying, and just some things that are bad balance type stuff. So we're spending some more time on that. Now, what I will point out is while there's a little bit of stuff that our world builders can do to help with that, there's not that much that they can do in terms of polish. So obviously they get a lot of bugs of like, hey, there's a stuck spot over here, or here's a ore node that you can't quite mine for some reason, or a quest bug here that needs to be fixed. So those guys are going to keep working on content, new levels. I think Well of Alder's ready to go out this release. I forget for sure. I've got to go do a run through. I actually started doing some performance work on it to get it better, but it's actually solid and should be 60 frames a second for anybody who has a decent machine and 30 for everybody else. Man, already up to level 3. I have a lot of people think. I will go back and thank people after the hype train. For those who don't know, apparently I'm going to spend the rest of the stream giving away prizes. If for every level of the hype train, we do another round of prize giveaways. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off another one here. Bump it to the top of the queue. Bam. Level 3. We haven't done level 3 in a while there. All right, let me get back to some more questions. Ooh, let's see. Oh, let me go back and finish Buzzkill, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the thing, and I'll go long here tonight. I don't need to be off right at 5. I'm making salad. I'm the cook for the family, but I already know I'm doing salad tonight, which is pretty much just open a bag and dump it in a bowl and mix it up, so that's pretty easy. So the mobs don't move much. So this is one of those things, again, trying to make the archers weaker in PvP, or at least have lower max hits in PvP, but still be just as effective in PvE. Creatures, if you think about creatures, they generally run towards you. There's some of them that dance along the outside edge. Those guys will reduce damage a little bit, but really the guys who are coming, archers deal with the guys that are running at them. If you think about control points, that's pretty much an archer sitting there, like, mowing down the guys as they come at him. I do not believe that change is going to negatively impact archers for PvE. It will give PvP guys more of a strategy that they can use. And it may change the strategy for archers for how they handle creatures. I'm just going to keep doing the thing. Let me see if that's actually giving me my prizes. Yep, I got 2. I think I got to do like 5 here. So I think I'm just going to wait until the end of the stream, because it looks like we're going to have... Whoa, hey, John Marcus. John, that was you this morning who was talking about making it perpendicular, right? I didn't see if you went on there. Oh, and also, if you give me 1337, if you're a new person on the stream, if you give me 1337 bits, I will torture the other people in the stream by singing you a song. One of my our good buddies... Whoa. Man, you guys are generous today. You guys are awesome. That's good. We're getting towards the end of the month. For those who don't know, Shooter Jennings is a longtime friend of the team and a fan of the game. But he is actually getting, I won't say what, but he's actually getting back involved with the game to some extent. But he said he caught one of my streams. I texted him back to tell him to ask him what he thought of my singing, but I did not get a reply from Shooter on rating of my singing. I was hoping to give me like a 1 to 10. Oh, and for those who don't know, Shooter is Shooter Jennings, who is Waylon Jennings' son. Is how, if you're not into that type of music, you may not have heard of him. But you've seen a lot of the stuff he's done. He's been winning stuff all over the place. He's been doing, I forget who all he's worked with, but the one I love is Brandi Carlile. But Marilyn Manson, he did Marilyn Manson's last album. Because not only does he sing, but he also does music producing stuff, and he's awesome. Level 5. You guys are nuts. I'm just going to have to keep clicking the button. Move to top of queue. Let me see how many I have there. Yeah, I will definitely just read those out at the end. Because I think, yeah, if you guys do, that's 4, so that means I got to do 6 already. Oh, and I see a comment, Ravelox is apparently watching the stream. He said that there's people, you guys expressed some concern about being logged out when AFK if they're PvP flagged. I'll probably make it an option, just make it a UI option where you can choose to log out after time. Are you guys going to finish level 5? I'm not sure. It's been a long time since we did level 5. That's crazy, guys. I will definitely keep going here. So I've got at least another 10 minutes because it's going to take me 10 minutes to read off prizes for you guys. Hold on. Clicking the prizing button again, bumping it to the top of the queue. Canceling the thing that's already on that thing. Man, hey Lancel. Good seeing you. Let me get back to some questions here. Ivara, could Mimic Chess get some dance moves? Please, I think they're the only pets that can't dance. Mimic Chess can't dance? That's crazy. I'm sure it makes them sad. I'm sure it makes everybody sad. Our Damon, and we've got a couple people who could do the animations. Damon's the guy that wants to do them all. He is the one. Oh, 103 to hype. I think you stop at level 5, so that means I got to do 7 rounds of prizes. You guys crazy? But Damon likes doing it because he actually likes... Oh, I think that's the 1337. I think that's just catching up. Man, I'm going to have 5 minutes of reading off thank yous. But he likes doing the animations. He actually does... He's a jack-of-all-trades type artist. And does everything from VFX to characters. There's a new character coming. Have we teased the new character? I wonder if I can tease the new character without giving away the new character. I'll wait because I bet we're going to do some type of reveal. There's a totally new from scratch model character going in game that is probably our best looking and most interesting character. Should be going in soon. Character meaning model for a new creature type. A whole new category of creature, like kobold is a category and skeletons or whatever a category. Hold on. Let me see how I'm doing here. How many do I have? I've got 4. I've got to get up to 7. Man, you guys are nuts. And kind. Let's see. Mimic chest. Yeah, we'll get some dance moves on those. I'm not sure why those guys don't have mimic or don't have dance moves. Can we get a random item tab for chest? It was taking some players all day to manually random select gifts for Xmas giveaways. Having the ability to randomly pick one item would help them a lot. That's cool. I'm trying to think how tough that would be. I don't think that would be that tough. Trying to think if there's some easier way to do that rather than like random pick one, just like a shuffle the objects, the items into random order. I think that would actually be pretty easy. I know I've looked at that code recently because I've been having to go through that stuff. But having one where you just shuffle them so that, randomly shuffle it and then the top item moves to the top, that would be pretty easy. I think that would actually be probably a 2-hour task. Random dude, Purify Burst has no apparent life spec bonus. Could you please add one? Yes. The next big things I'm doing on skills is I'm going to do some more testing and balance testing on the stuff I've changed already for light armor, heavy armor, shield. And then it sounds like probably pets will be next. Bard, fixing those 2 or 3 bard skills that are all kinds of broken. And then the other one is taking another pass at the Mez effect to make it so things can't be permanently mesmerized. I know some things can't, like higher level things can't, but coming up with a system, so you can't mesmerize like Kabbalist permanently, makes content that's supposed to be challenging trivial, which shouldn't be. So I'm going to rework some of that system in terms of the mesmerize. Some of the bard stuff as well. Let's see, I got 4 of them done now. Let me go back over here. He's almost done. I'll put another one in the queue. Oh, there's 5. So I'm going to have to read off 7 prizes. This is good, though, because I'll just be able to name the prize, then I'll be able to name the 5 people who got it. I guarantee there's going to be some duplicates in there. I have not seen any because I'm not really looking. But I'm pretty sure there will be a few dupes in there. Let's see. Hold on one second. I'm still working on kicking some stuff out. Got 1 more to go. Last one's in the queue. Bam. All right. I should have that taken care of now. So now I can just answer some more questions. I'll see if I can get through some rapid fire. Very happy to see the new critical hit damage decrease stat. Will mobs inherit this stat? Currently, PvE is dominated by physical crit damage. Builds focusing on physical base damage or magic damage, minus fire in some situations, need not apply. Resist versus magic is better balanced than damage. Yes, damage avoidance, damage resist versus physical. Yeah, that's... there's been some challenges over time scaling as we continue to keep things up in terms of the physical side of things. The critical hit stat for creatures, yeah, that's now a stat that can be used on anything. That includes, like, if we want to have a new piece of armor or a new skill or have something, you know, some buff somebody can cast on you. That's one of the ones I was looking at right off the bat was, again, I have my long list of things that I really want to do because I'm super passionate about it, including a lot more combos, but also chaos magic and doing the backward spell. Oh, God, my brain. Where's my brain? Not confusion, juxtapose. Having juxtapose and doing like a Firefly juxtapose buff that someone could cast, making that a combo, hitting 2 of those at once and making that another new combo of having one where you can juxtapose Fireflies to reduce that and having a buff you can cast on your friends or on your party members. But yes, that can be used anywhere. Creatures can use that. That's one of the places, as soon as I added that, the first thing I was thinking was like, golems need this. Like, I didn't immediately add it to golems as part of their default package, just because they're already pretty annoying to fight in terms of the long beatdown you have to give them. But I am going to do some reading off of names here, because I have not thanked anybody all stream, and I got like a ton of people to thank. So let me spend a few minutes here thanking you guys. Let's see. Looking for best place I have to do that. I think right over here is probably the best one. So this is going to take a few minutes because you guys are crazy, nice, and generous. Before things started there, thank you, the Rasage, for the follow. Hold on, I'm going to come pull that over here and get this over here in front of me, because my old eyes have trouble reading it over there. I have not crashed today. My computer's not crashed. Woohoo! I don't know what changed, but I do have a new computer coming up, so I will be getting a new computer built. I'm excited about it. I know you guys don't care. I was just mentioning that in case I crash out. If I suddenly drop the stream, that's always what happens. It's only happened a couple times on stream, fortunately. But thank you, John Marcus, like a million times over, buddy. Dalamar, thank you for the follow. Gone Girl 50, thank you for the follow. Waldo Ptolemy, wow, thank you for the gifted sub. And then Tens Doll, man, thank you, and everybody on the stream, thanks you for gifting. I don't even know how many were there. The Mad Chef of Xenos, thank you, thank you, thank you. MFD Soul, thank you for the follow. Treasure Pile, Dices, Welder Mobile, thank you for the follow. Love seeing new names. Eileen Dragonfire, thank you for the bits. And I forget, do you have a thing I need to plug, Eileen? If you have a thing that I need to plug, I will have to go look. But I think you do. You always have something cool going on. Let's see. Oh, Electronic Dance, Hip Hop, and Industrial Show on Avatar Radio will be in Obsidious tonight from 8 p.m. till midnight. Central Standard Time. Go devs, go! So yes, 8 p.m. tonight. That will be going on. Dr. Himbrand, thank you very much. Dark and Obscura, Waldo. Hawkwind, thank you. Skeggy Media, Abneil, many times over, buddy. Again, I love mispronouncing that name, butchering it so many times. Stymie, long live the Syndicate. Vulcan Jedi, thank you. Oh man, so many repeat people on here with Waldo and Abneil and Stymie. John Marcus, of course, I owe him a song. The Graceful Bard. Oh, we'll see. Graceful Bard, if there's nobody new on the streaming and you're on there streaming, you're probably going to get my raid. I've snubbed you a few times here. Tinsdall, man. Waldo, man. You guys were competing there. Dices. U235. Irish Eyes. Irish Eyes. Lancel. Orion Snake. Mad Chef. I think I got you already. Gunnig, thank you for the follow. Zythar got in the game. Guys, thank you. Huge. So much generosity out there today. So, let me answer a few more questions. I know I'm over time here. But I'll answer a few more questions. I'm going to read off some prizes. Oh, I have a special guest.
Dad, when are you going to get off?
When am I going to get off? As soon as you sing people a song.
What do I have to sing?
Whatever you want. What do you know?
Last Christmas?
Sure, sing Last Christmas.
Even though the movie's...
You don't even know the words, but go ahead.
Okay, well, pardon. Last Christmas... No. Last Christmas, you gave me my heart. Then the very next day, you took it away. Last Christmas, you gave me my heart. Then I gave it to someone special.
Woo! That's good, Pumpkin. We got a lot of questions to answer here. That's super. 6 years old. 6 years old. We will not challenge your math skills today. I know you could do it.
You could.
Not another platypus. Thank you very much. Man, we're so far behind on thanking people there. But let me answer a few more questions. Hit up a few more questions here.
You can answer my question.
Then I can answer your question. Well, I'm going to get off. Give me 10 minutes. Okay?
10 minutes?
Yep.
Okay.
You can go tell Alexa to set a 10-minute timer if you want. Azazel Reborn, do you have an estimate on when you can implement the ability to allow Shroud to remember our bag inventory window positions? Also, how about a checkbox to allow us to lock the cursor to the Shroud window for real full screen? For a while, the full screen thing was a problem that was a bug in Unity that we were having trouble working around, and I think we can put that on the back burner, but I don't think that's that bad of a one. We'll see what mood I'm in tomorrow when I get up to try and tackle some of these things. As for remembering the bag positions, that's one that has taken... we've started on that a few times, and I've said I was going to do it, and I got some pushback from people on the team because they wanted it... Some people think it should be stored on your network character, so if you play on one computer and then you get on another computer, totally separate computer, that all that stuff will be remembered. One, that is a bunch more work. And two, I don't know that it happens that much. But I think we can do it pretty quick if we do it as a local thing, which is probably what we're going to do, is we'll get it a local one so it stores the local. The other question we have is, I think it's going to end up being another option in the UI stuff, is making it so you can remember different stuff for different... You can have different keys, stuff stored, everything stored that normally gets stored locally, having that stored per character rather than per machine. So that's another one of those that, again, it's a highly debated topic. It doesn't seem like it should be, but everybody has strong opinions. Let's see. How high past GM do I have to take Tranquility to prevent stunning from Ghost in the scaling zone? Please also what exactly does casting interrupt tolerance do, or does, and that number is associated with it? Casting, oh man, that's what I'm going to have to look at. I'll try and do a tweet. Maybe I can do some of these things. There's a long time ago when Star and I would do these streams together where we just couldn't get to everything, and for some insane reason, Star made like some promise, some point that any question that's asked on the stream, we're going to answer. And so we'd get done and we'd have like 5 pages of questions, and we would each spend a full day after the stream going through and answering every question. I'm not promising to do that. Maybe I can start answering some of these things in the morning just by tweets, because that's what I'm going to have to look up. But I think that's a good way to get that information out. Let's see. Eric Rules. Again, taking a pass on lots of skinning, harvesting type stuff. The experience in that is not, compared to the time spent on it, is not rewarding enough. So definitely take a pass on those things. And I also, just having the unique, named guys that actually are a fight, having those guys give something significant and special is important too. I think there were some questions on increasing, last stream there were questions on increasing the drop rates of heads of wyverns, I think. Pretty sure it was wyverns. Well, I'm trying to remember. I think it was wyverns. But anyways, Beezus chimed in on that. One of the things he worked on this release is there's a new tier of wyverns above the current ones, I believe. So rather than increase the drop rate of heads on wyverns or haunches on wyverns, I think we might have increased the haunches a tiny bit, but making the higher tier ones out there and having them have a little higher drop rate. And increasing the places they spawn. So yeah, so that'll help a little bit. And I looked at the numbers. I think I'm trying to remember, but it was something like, and this is again one of those things where everybody has an opinion, where I looked it up and I said, oh, it looks like it drops 1 in 100 times. Sounds good. And then I immediately got chastised by Elgarion, who's like, that's insane. And I went and pulled the numbers, and I forget what it was, but it ended up being something like, I think, and again, people are saying they don't spawn that much, but it was only like 700 or 900 of them killed per week of the type that dropped them, and I think there were only like 5 or 6 dropped, like heads dropped in a week. That feels kind of small to me. Blaze Garcink, what kind of things do you fix when optimizing? Is there some guidelines we should follow when decorating? You guys should do what you want to, and I should be able to make it work. I have a lot of tools that I haven't been using as much as I should have been using. Probably the bigger thing is we've had some new people join the team. We've had new people creating decos, new stuff in game that have not had the brutal beatdown from me of instructing them on, don't do that, that's horrible for performance. So we've got a lot of stuff in game. I'm trying to remember which town it was, but there were a couple of things, just give you some examples of what we did wrong and how I know we can do better, and some of the stuff that I fixed. Was there'd be scenes like this. There's a fountain that was called a candle fountain, and it's a fountain that has a bunch of candles on it. That thing was a nightmare. That was actually dragging down the performance of a number of things. Glowing stuff is not that bad. Things with actual light sources on them are bad. But again, I have ways I can cap how many lights are being used to render. Oh, but the fountain with the candle fountain, one, it had a bunch of light sources on it. 2, it was made up of dozens of just little objects that had no coal layer and they didn't have an LOD. So basically, if I was standing here and these tiny, tiny things were on the far side of town, it would still be trying to render them. So catching some of those things that had no coal layers and they were a bunch of small objects. Some things were set to not, they weren't using a shader that would instance, which again, for techie guys out there, that is, we have a lot of stuff in game. Like if you look at hey, this thing right here, this road lot marker. Well, if I look like this way, there's probably 20 of those in my rendered view. So what instancing does is, rather than pushing those verts to the graphics card 20 times and rendering it, it pushes it one time and says render it in these 20 spots with these attributes. But you need a special shader and special setup to do that. So that was, a lot of things did not have that. So I went and cleaned up all those things as well. Again, this is stuff that's going to help throughout the game. Some of it is, and since I can demonstrate, when I was mentioning the light stuff, lights are expensive. I need to do some more better work on the light system for figuring out what things to draw, what things to turn off. And this is, I stopped right here because I saw, again, trying to make sure things look good, but also still maintain performance. And it's really hard to figure out what things look bad. So this is, if you look in the middle of my screen up here, You see that the Grim Reaper up there, there's a light, one of these braziers. You can see this one is obviously emitting a light. That one's obviously emitting a light. This one's emitting a light. That one's not emitting a light. And this is, again, we can control, and right there is kind of the spot where it turns on and off. We can control what things are seen at a distance. We had a lot of light sources that were really tiny that were set to turn off really far away. And some of that is, I cleaned up all the ones I found, but I just need to have some integration tests that go in that run constantly by our test server stuff and find those things to prevent that type of stuff. We always try to make sure, again, I always talk about, build lightning shield type stuff. Is we can say lightning's not going to strike the same place twice, but it always strikes the same place twice. Same thing in here is people always make the same mistakes over and over again. And even if somebody never makes a mistake again, that they say they're not going to make a mistake, and they don't make the mistake, well, we got new people on the project, and they may make the mistake. But in terms of decorating, again, I can get things better. I got a really good head start on this release in terms of getting the performance better. This is on like max shadow distance, which is one of the most expensive things. You can see it's still running, even with max everything, it's still running pretty well. This is, in case you're wondering, this is on an NVIDIA 2060, so not super high end, but it's a generation behind and low to mid pack. A pretty good video card. You're not going to like have a laptop with integrated graphics or something and run like this, but someone with a fairly new computer should run at least this well. And this is with everything set up high. You'll run much better. Shadows are the biggest thing if you're looking for things you can adjust locally. Turning down the shadow distance is a huge performance impact, but again, it also dramatically affects the visual quality as well. But let's see, turning shadows off completely is kind of the worst or the best thing. Now there is also, I've started using this again. There's a performance thing that I put in a while back where, well, I got a new low spot here. 20 frames a second, that's crap. 24, 25. But this crunch thing here, that's actually something to use to improve the performance. Wonder if that is, uh-oh, I hear a 10-minute timer going off. But yeah, you can pretty much watch the frame rate go up as I decrease the shadow distances. Yeah, it's still only 30. This is probably a scene that may have this spot over here may be problematic for VFX, but I'll take a look at it and see if I can punch this down. But anyways, for decorating your town, you shouldn't have to do anything. Okay, well, give me some time. I want to wrap things up. I got to read off a ton of prizes. But the things you can do if you want to make sure your town is more performant now. I mean, you can kind of tell the things that are cool and emit a lot of particles can always be problematic. Things that have light sources on them can be problematic. Lots of small instances of things can be problematic. One of the things we run into is a lot of spots, and this may be one of those. We start running into performance problems just due to the sheer number of things. Yeah, we cull everything. We got everything fixed right. We got everything so it turns off at a distance. We got LEDs on things. We have simpler versions of the shaders. We have, all that type of stuff. Turning off shadows, turning off lights. But it's the sheer magnitude of trying to manage some of the places I was looking at last night where there were, like, standing in one spot, there were 24,000 objects that were being managed in terms of decos. Now, a lot of that, again, if we have the settings so things inside houses turn off, disable, but it's still one of those things they still have to be managed to some extent depending on what they are. But anyways, it should be a little bit better. Viagra fixes performance problems. Maybe. You can try it. But it should be better this release. I'm going to do a little bit more work, but I kind of took a major pass and should be better just overall. Combat with UI stuff should be a little bit better. Not promising it's fixed, but it's definitely should be improved noticeably. And that is combat in like party situations with a lot of the UI stuff. I went and took a pass at UI optimization stuff, but without redoing any major chunks of it or reducing the number of buffs that are up there. I do have that changed locally. That is actually just a number we can change. So that may be one that I expose. Let's see. I got tons of questions coming in here, but let's see. I've thanked a lot of people. I've not done I'm going to pick out, I'm going to call off some prizes here. Sing a quick song. Just a quick one on the way out. And then we are going to go find someone to raid. So let me go start that process of figuring out who to raid. Because we're already coming up on like 5:30. And the Graceful Bard is there. Let's see. Silvertree, you're amazing, Silvertree. But I've actually been on your stream. We might be on Silvertree's stream next Thursday. We'll see. So I don't want to give him a raid. Revenant Party of One is also amazing. Serial Gaming TV, that's a new one here, but I've kind of already set it up to... Well, let me see if Blaze Garsink is... He's on the stream. He's always generous. Let me see if he has enough followers. 5 followers. Oh, man. Now I got to do Blaze. Thank you. I am going to close while I watch Bard. You're going to close? You're not going to... I was going to give you a raid there. You may have just talked yourself out of a raid. All right. Let me read off some prizes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Man. Okay, here we go. This may be, this is the most prizes we've given out, and our CS person is going to hate me for having to send these prizes out. Gondola water decoration goes to, you ready? Twiggy Fizzle Sticks, Johnny Clash. Oh, I see what you did there. That was good. Robert Baratheon, and again, we may have some multiple winners. We're not going to worry about it. You get 2 prizes. Guamroll Sternfuhrer, Kurgan, Kiranthim Ice, and Crossfire Bug's Eye. You guys all get the gondola water decoration. Cinerous Stone 2-tier outdoor pedestal fountain goes to Aristodemus, Chrome Magnon, Gia, James Humes, Rinaldi, Creothan Ice, and Eliar DeRoque. Next, Silver Telescope goes to, most prizes ever, guys, Finetto Donta, Lurgholf Highlander, Sean Silverfoot, Mingo the Bard, Andrew Night Owl, Felix Greenwich, and Dugan Redhammer. I forget if Andrew Night Owl's one of those guys who claims he's never won before. Seems like he's won. I must be misremembering. Golden Eagle Decoration Pet goes to Papilli, Quish, Ronnie, Hawkwind, Lane, Tantalus, Larmer Illimer. Oh, here's my pro tip. If you have Amazon Prime, this is unrelated. I got one more thing of prizes giveaway. But if you're on Amazon Prime, there's a movie you must watch if you were old like me and you used to watch like the high-numbered TV channels. Not the first 13, but was that UHF, VHF? Was that VHF? I forget which one was the high one. I think that had to be like UHF. But anyways, watching those high channels, there'd occasionally be this horrible movie on. But any kid who grew up playing D&D would love it and watch it. It's on Amazon Prime Video. Hawk the Slayer. Go watch it. You owe it to yourself. If you are watching it, you should probably, and you haven't seen it before and you want to enjoy it, you should probably have a drink, or if you're in a state where it's legal, feel free to take a puff or two, but you'll enjoy it more. It is horrible and also amazing. Hawk the Slayer. Amazon Prime. Last thing going out here. Round Elven Greenhouse goes to Royu, Thuros, Sepharil Longclaw, Lazarus Long, Lummox Olafson, Poop Deck Pete, And Cleo. Last but not least, Cleo. Guys, you're amazing. Let's see here. Refreshing there. Oh, yeah, so he did bail out on me there. No, it looks like he might be... It looked like it was locked up. Let me try it one more time. Oh, what? Our amazing nameless CS person has already sent all the prizes. If you're one of those people, you should already have your prize. Is that crazy or what? Alright, Serial Gaming has more followers already. Let's just do Graceful Bard. We haven't done Graceful Bard in a while, and you can't go wrong with Graceful Bard. You should feel free to check out some of these other people. Graceful Bard is always amazing, though. So we're going to give Graceful Bard a raid. First off, I have to go and do... quick song. Oh, that's right. I needed to announce the fishing winners. I always forget these things. Hold on. Let me announce the fishing winners in 1 minute. Alright, I think I got what song I'm going to do there. Let me announce the fishing winners. We have... this is the week 37 fishing results. 36 weeks before this. 37 week fishing. Dark Bayou, Crystal Cove, Cottage Grove, Libris Ruins, Northwest, Black Blade Mountains were the scenes. Zeke Latrec wins the first category with an alligator gar that was 2.582 ambiguous units in Cottage Grove. He gets a row-lot deed and a large gold fishing trophy. Next up, we have Sorgan Toxel with a black trout, 1.244 ambiguous units in Libris Ruins. He wins a PvP shard and a large silver fishing trophy. And then last but absolutely positively not least, with the biggest fish I've ever seen, is Irish Eyes with a Mosasaurus, 7.171 ambiguous units in Northwest Black Blade Mountains. Gets a fishing rod of prosperity, lava category. The fishing rod of prosperity, the large bronze fishing trophy. More talking than I'm used to. So there's that part. Now let me get the raid thing going there. I'm going to try to sing a song here. Butcher a song. Almost. Hold on. Wait for it. I'm almost there. I'm looking for the thing. Yeah, okay, there's that. Nope. Yep, that is it. Okay. Here we go. We will be going to raid the Graceful Bard here in just a minute. Ah, look at all the lonely people. Ah, look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been. Lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? All right, guys. I see that someone says they love the Beatles and they love that song. I will not ruin it for you by doing it more on this throat that feels like it's about to give out on me here. Guys, thank you so much for the stream today. Great contributions today. Team absolutely appreciates it. Getting lots of stuff done. Again, focusing on the 2020 going forward, or 2021 going forward. We're going to be doing, in terms of features, slowing those down and instead polishing the ones that we have for a while. And then we will get back on the features later this year. You can expect some new content releases next week, and we're about to raid. Let's go. And I forgot to tell everybody to be careful.